Well, hello again. This should have been part of the previous Ariel School Zimbabwe video, but I just thought there's a couple of things that I could show that I didn't actually show before. So rather than remake it and re-upload it, I thought I'd just make a part two with a couple of other bits and bobs that I think are worth mentioning. Now, first of all, this is Lisa, one of the kids from the school. She's drawing what she can see, what she can remember, rather. And again, remember in the previous video, one of the kids said that the pointy bits of the eyes were at the top, not at the bottom. And Lisa here has drawn them at the bottom here, and not at the top. So, as I mentioned before, this could well be because she hasn't shown any pupils in here like another one of the kids did. Round holes in the middle there, as I said before. It's probably because the kids that were pranking the posh kids, these kids here, were wearing masks, alien masks. So they need little round holes to be able to look through them and see where they're going. And the masks may not all be the same. That's why some have got the points at the bottom, some have got the points at the top. Now, why I think they were pranked by some other kids using a Toyota Coaster bus, minibus, is, as I said before, this will be stuck on for effect. Alien spacecraft's not going to have an antenna sticking out on top of it. But the general shape of the front of the craft, for want of a better word, the fact that it's a rectangular door, pretty unlikely that you're going to get a rectangular door in an alien spacecraft. And we've got some round portholes there. And I think she's drawn a little stalk there because she couldn't actually see the bottom part of the vehicle, because remember it's in a bushy area. There are trees and there's scrub there as well, and she's probably only about 3 feet tall, so she'd be looking across the top of the scrub at this vehicle. So she's not going to be able to see the wheels, and she's just put this in there because she assumes it's a spacecraft that's come in and landed there. So let's just have a quick look at a Toyota Coaster minibus, quite prolific in South Africa, these things. And this is actually from a CPSAfrica.com. Now there's a Toyota minibus. Now can you see the similarity there in the general shape of this? See how it comes out at the front and goes back down. The rectangular shape of the door. The fact that the rectangular door is shown closer to the front of the vehicle than the rear. If we just have a look at that. Closer to the front than the rear. Okay, the general shape of the front of it. I reckon it's almost certainly a Toyota Coaster minibus, the Ariel School UFO. The other thing too is, of course, if I do that, I don't know if you can see that, okay? Sort of the round portholes there. And the view of a kid of the minibus because of the metre-tall scrub. Obviously, if you can imagine the portholes still being there, it's getting closer and closer to what she's actually drawn, isn't it? So, personally, I think the Ariel School alien spacecraft is a Toyota Coaster minibus, as I said in the previous video. But I didn't do the thing with the bit of paper showing you exactly what I meant about having cardboard, a bit of cardboard over the windows with big black dots drawn on them. Might be something blanking this one out as well, just to make it appear like an alien spacecraft. They put a little stalk on top as well, just for a bit of added effect there. Now, the other thing too is, first of all, I'll just show you something on Google Earth. Oh yeah, there is a... Okay, so there's Ariel School on Google Earth. This is it here. The alien spacecraft appeared here. This was all covered in trees at the time. And I think someone drove a coaster bus in here and pranked the kids. If it was a real alien spacecraft, why? Well, it couldn't really land here anyway, because this is full of trees. Remember in the previous video, I showed some kids' drawings there of the alien spacecraft below the tree canopy, as that had been driven in underneath the tree canopy. But if you were the captain of an alien spacecraft or the pilot of an alien spacecraft, and this is all covered in trees, and you've got a perfectly empty field here, where are you going to land? You're going to land there, aren't you? How are you going to land there if it's covered in trees? So I think without doubt they were pranked. It's a minibus. It's driven in between the trees here. That's why it's shown in the kids' drawings as being below the, beneath the tree canopy. And actually, if I just go to this is the bit that I should have queued up previously. But yeah, I won't bother apologising for the poor editing, as all my videos are poorly edited. But this is clearly shown. The alien space vehicle is clearly shown beneath the tree canopy. Okay, beneath the tree canopy. So it's being driven in, and it's just parked in amongst the trees here. And I don't know why I can't have an orange cursor. Why it has to be exactly the same as the background, I don't know. And there we have another kid's drawing. These are drawings from the kids at the time. Look at how close the trees are to the alien spacecraft. It hasn't obviously come in and landed. It's driven along the dirt road and parked up in the scrub. Dead giveaway, isn't it? The tree canopy over the top of the UFO. Okay, now let's just go and listen to... Now this is a video that was done by Cynthia Hind, who was a UFO, I think she's passed on now. She was a UFO investigator in South Africa, and she went to see the kids, I think it was the day after, or it might have been a couple of days after. It was certainly very close to the incident, unlike John Mack, who turned up 2 months later. Now just listen to what this kid here says. Now he doesn't appear in Mack's video, I don't think, this one. There we go.
I'm Daniel Mandy, and I saw the silver thing in amongst this clump of trees with...
I saw the silver thing in amongst the clump of trees. In amongst the clump of trees. So it's obviously been driven in amongst the trees, isn't it?
This one thing sitting on the side, and another thing sort of like running up and down the top.
Yeah, okay. So one of the kids was running up and down the roof.
When you say thing, was it a form of some sort?
Yeah, it almost looked like a real person, except it was fairly plump.
Ah, really?
Okay, well that's a different spin, isn't it? We have a plump alien. Normally they're extremely skinny, aren't they? Aliens that come to visit us, they're normally skinny little aliens, but this one was quite plump. So, you know, one of the kids that's pranking the other kids is a little bit on the plump side. Yeah, okay. Well, I think let's just find... okay, let's just have a bit more from the kids. Now, remember, this is the... I'll leave a link to this below. This is the Cynthia Hind interview that happened very shortly after the event.
He had long hair, and he was all black.
But he wasn't naked.
No.
What did he have on?
No, that's all you could see.
Have you been able to see that?
Yeah.
Why? Was he among the trees?
It just felt like a shadow. It just showed a shadow coming.
What is your name?
Triple one.
Oh, and you also saw this
Yes, we were all there.
creature.
Yes.
What did you think it was?
I don't know, really.
Did you see the thing, whatever it was, land?
Yes, after the bell rang, I was walking up to the class, and I just saw flashes in the side of my eye, and...
Yeah, okay. So she said, did you see it land? And he said, yes. And then when he goes on to describe the landing, he said all he saw were flashes in the corner of his eye. So, you know, again, with the Toyota Coaster minibus, you could have a camera in there, you could set off a few flashes just for effect. You might even have some sound effects as well, because one of the kids in the John Mack video described as hearing a noise like someone playing a flute. Maybe maybe that's what it was. You know, maybe someone was hiding in the scrub with a flute. Yeah, I don't think as an alien visitation story, I don't think this holds up at all well. Now let's just move it on to Liesel in this video. Oh, there's that kid that was describing the eyes. I think we've seen that before. Well, we might as well just see that again.
When you say you have big eyes, show me with your hands the size compared
They
to
were oval, kind of like that.
oval.
Yes.
I see. And could you see anything else on the face?
No, I couldn't. All I could see was his hair, and when he turned...
Yeah, notice all these kids are well-spoken kids. You know, the fees at Ariel School were quite expensive to send your kid there. So I think the the local kids have decided to prank the posh kids. It's is what's happened here. It's as simple as that. There was a bit in the paper, I think, the day before, or a couple of days before, about you know, bright lights in the sky, you know, asteroid, meteorites, or space junk or something, and I think that prompted them to they saw that in the media and thought, okay, we'll have a bit of fun with the local posh kids.
And then
Were you afraid?
yes, I was.
What did you think it was?
Well, everybody was saying that there were UFOs and everything, so...
Other people said they were UFOs.
Yeah, people were coming around telling... we were in the classroom and I ran out and I saw it. I did think they were UFOs. I did see them.
Were you perhaps influenced by what the other children had said?
Sort of, but I did definitely see
What you saw?
what I saw, yes.
Do you also see?
Yes.
What is your name?
0%.
I can't remember if she appears as an adult in the Ariel Phenomenon film that's going to come out as soon as they get some of your funds. But okay, anyway, t-shirts, hats, anyone?
I saw something silver on the ground amongst the trees.
Something silver on the ground amongst the trees.
And the person in black. And that's all I saw.
You saw a person alongside the silver thing.
Yes.
What did the silver thing look like?
It looked like a saucer, but the shape wasn't really round.
Have you heard about UFOs before this?
No.
You didn't know anything about it, so it was something quite new to you.
Yes.
Were you afraid?
Yes.
What did you do? Did you run to fetch the teachers, or you just stayed with the other children?
I stayed with the other children.
Okay, thank you. What's your...
Well,
Marty?
and this is Emma.
Oh, Emma Christensen. Yes. Yes, because your drawing was particularly interesting. They have asked me about it. You saw in your drawing, you've got not only several others. Now, did you see these coming down, or did you see them in the sky?
I saw them disappear. They went 1 meter up from the ground and then they just disappeared.
They went 1 meter up and they disappeared. And you saw this creature?
Yes, he was very, very shiny black.
Shiny black
Shiny black.
suit.
Kind of suit.
Would you say it was like a ordinary suit that, was it like what Mr. Mackey's wearing? What would you call the type of clothing?
I'm not sure, but he was really...
Have you ever seen the divers going to the sea?
Oh, yes, like that.
Was it like that, or was it like an overall? Or a tight-fitting suit?
It was tight-fitting.
It was tight.
Yeah, okay. So a tight-fitting, dark, shiny suit. Yeah. So it's it's a wetsuit, isn't it, for going diving? is what she's describing there. You know. So some of those, some alien masks, coaster bus, some bits of cardboard, some cameras for some flashes, bit of sound effects, and there's your alien invasion.
Tight-fitting, and it was shiny. Could you see his face?
Well, I only saw a glimpse of it.
And you don't remember any individual features?
Well, I only remember that his eyes were quite big.
Eyes were big. And were you afraid?
I was a little afraid.
What did you think it was?
I don't know. I just thought it was some kind of alien from a different planet.
So you knew about the UFOs?
Yes.
You watched on television?
Yes.
Do you think that influenced you?
Mm-hmm.
Or you weren't thinking about it?
I was thinking about it.
Okay. Thanks, Emma.
And Lisa was out, Lisa was
Yesterday. And Miss Lisa Philip. And what did you see?
Well, I saw a silver thing. It was shaped. It was like lying down like this on the side, and I saw a black man. He was dressed in black, and he had big eyes.
Show me with your hand how big the eyes
They
were.
were shaped like something like that.
What did you think it was?
Well, I thought twice. I thought it was an alien, and then I thought maybe it was a gardener or someone.
So she thought it was an alien, and then she thought it might be the gardener. Okay.
You thought it was an alien, and then you thought it was the gardener. Oh, well, I'd like to look at the gardener. Thank you very much.
Now, note, no mention whatsoever from any of these kids about the ecological message. The aliens want us to look after the planet, you know. The trees are all going to fall down. Now, this is the Cynthia Hind interview the day after, or within a couple of days of the event. Only the all this ecological stuff only appeared after John Mack appeared. So if we go back to the John Mack video, where is she talking about the? Yeah, I think it is.
Maybe because we don't look after the planet.
Now this is the John E. Mack interview with the kids. This was 2 months later.
The area properly.
Mm-hmm. And let me, this is this an idea that you have had before, that we don't look after the planet properly in the air, or did this idea come to you when you had this experience?
When I had this experience.
Mm-hmm. And how did that idea come to you from this experience? This is a little hard, but try to be with me here, okay? How did this idea come to you when you had this experience?
I just felt all horrible inside.
You felt horrible. At what point did you feel that? When you saw the craft, or when you got home at night? Or
When I got home.
You had that horrible feeling when you got home?
Yes.
And
Yeah, okay. So she had the horrible feeling about this when she got home, and she came up with this ecological message. But you know, the day after, when she saw Cynthia Hind, she made no mention of it, of this ecological message. So yeah, I personally, I don't think they had a clue about this ecological stuff before John Mack got there. This was a recurring theme with John Mack and the people that he put forward as alien abductees. They had a similar story to tell. As I mentioned in the previous video, absolutely ridiculous. If aliens were worried about us not looking after the planet correctly, they're not going to go and tell a bunch of school kids. They're not going to go and tell Bubba the Lumberjack or Tracy from McDonald's. They're going to talk to world leaders. You know, they talk to the UN or the President of the United States or Russia or China or all of the above. You know, they're not going to go and talk to school kids. And from the film that's coming out, Ariel Phenomenon, about this alleged UFO ET encounter, Liesl appears as an adult, and so does one of the other kids. I'm not sure which one that was. Neither of them are eco warriors. Okay, they're not out there spreading the eco message. Now, just trying to think if I had anything else I wanted to say about this, because I've done a couple of clips and I've got to join them together. So I'll just go back to Ariel School again. I can't remember if I've mentioned this before or not, but I'm going to mention it again anyway. So there is Ariel School. There are the school buildings. That was the original existing playing field. This was all trees. There's all trees along here as well. When this incident took place, the kids were looking into here. The alien spacecraft was in here among the trees. Kids drew the spacecraft as being below the tree canopy. Okay, you're the pilot of an alien spacecraft. I think you're approaching this area from above. There's a nice clear field here. You're going to land there. How are you going to land here and somehow maneuver your spacecraft between the trees below the tree canopy? There's a track here. Drive your Toyota Coaster minibus into the scrub. Get someone playing a flute to attract some attention, set off some camera flashes, and just prank the posh kids at Ariel School. And I think it's as simple as that. All right, well, as always, if you've struggled through this video all the way to here, if you wanted to look at this yourself, it's on Google Earth. If you just put in the search bar Ariel School, Zimbabwe, it will take you straight to it. There's the address, Teresa Road, Rua, Zimbabwe. Have a look at it and see what you think, but that's what I think happened. And I think that's a far more likely scenario than aliens coming from another part of the galaxy to impart an eco message to school kids. Why only visit one school, you know? Why isn't the whole of South Africa reporting these visits and these eco messages? Why not talk to the UN or world leaders? Why talk to a handful of school kids? You know, telepathically. Remember, there wasn't a word spoken. Okay, well, that'll do, I think, as far as the Ariel School ET encounter goes. As I said earlier, this should have been part of the previous video, I think, but rather than redo the whole bloody thing, I just thought I'd do a part 2. So if you struggled through the video all the way to this point, thank you very much indeed for watching, and perhaps I'll catch you again.